Joe in real life. So yesterday I found out Cormac McCarthy died. Arguably our greatest living, or now deceased, novelist, Cormac McCarthy, the writer of No Country for Old Men, The Road. His greatest book, Blood Meridian, is soon to be made into a movie, All the Pretty Horses. And yeah, I was pretty sad about it. He's 89 years old. He had a hell of a life. He really hit his stride as a writer in, I think it was 85 with Blood Meridian. A writer whose work means a lot to me, you know. And if you're a reader, but haven't read Cormac McCarthy, definitely read Blood Meridian. It's a Western. I think it's a horror novel. I don't think it's a Western so much as a horror, kind of in the same vein as something like Hellraiser, like for real. Even though there's no supernatural or very little supernatural in it, depending on how you feel about Judge Holden. As dark and gritty and weirdly vibrant and life-affirming a novel as you're ever going to read. If you're not a reader, don't read that book. It's going to be too much, for real. Like, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be patronizing here, but if you're not a regular reader and you jump on Blood Meridian, you're not going to like it. It's very writerly. It's going to be a lot. That said, No Country for Old Men is a great little read. If you've seen the movie, which you probably have, it's almost exactly the movie. I think you get 3 extra scenes in the book. And it'll take you about as long to read as watching that movie. It's written more like a screenplay than a novel. There are extra flourishes, but it's very short and it's very easy to read and very enjoyable. In fact, as great as that movie is, the novel's better, though perhaps only a little. And I would highly recommend it. Also, I'm considering doing a read-through of Cormac McCarthy for the rest of the year. I would, of course, read more books than just Cormac McCarthy, but I kind of want to just get on Amazon and order all his books and read them all, beginning to end, front to back. A great writer, and he will be missed, What else? I'm going to squat today. I'm going to do my proper squat workout. I'm going to stop ducking it. I'm feeling great. My mornings with my lady in the gym have been wonderful, and today's just going to be more of the same. All I'm going to do today is back squat. I'm going to use the whole hour and just back squat. And that's it. And I suspect I'll barely be able to walk tomorrow. So that's that. Stay tuned, guys. I love you. I look a little sleepy. I need an allergy pill. All right, on the squats. It's not difficult to see why people don't read anymore. My generation was raised by television, and as good as television is, it's not good enough to keep you out of the entire scope of literature, You might love Magnum P.I., but you're going to find better adventure stories. You just have to do a little digging. No shade on Magnum P.I. I fucking love Magnum, but there are better books. That's all I'm saying. The modern generation has grown up with the full force of the World Wide Web, competing in multimedia on all avenues, and that's not why people don't read. The real reason is that certainly helps, but that's not the real reason. The real reason is nobody taught them, School has always been, with the exception of a few key teachers here and there, and I hope everyone listening has had at least one teacher who's an exception, but it's been a low effort enterprise. You assign the work, and when you get the papers, the projects, the reports, what have you, it's not necessarily important how that end product was created, you know? There's an element of due diligence, but I mean, you can pull anything you want, even without ChatGPT, off of the internet and have a more than serviceable report with incredibly low effort and no reading required. And teachers, parents, my generation, the generation prior, isn't doing the work to make sure people are engaged with books. And this is a real tragedy, you know? Take Cormac as an example, right? What's happening when you read a Cormac McCarthy novel is that you're inviting his words into your brain. They replace your internal dialogue. And it sounds a little bit like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something. You're allowing his internal dialogue to replace yours. But it isn't his internal dialogue. It's the best, most possibly curated version of his internal dialogue. So, take something like Blood Meridian, which took him 5 years to write. He learned Spanish to write this book. There isn't even a lot of Spanish in it. He learned Spanish just to get in to the mindset of the characters. And if you sit down with this book, as dark as it is and as broody as it is, and you allow it space in your head, he's elevating your internal dialogue. You're expanding your consciousness. It's resonating with what is oldest and best in all of us and is lifting us up. It's making your mind bigger. Literally. Like literally bigger. You're in the scope of your thoughts and your words and your expressions and your feelings. You now have more room inside than you did before. And I realize audiobooks are pretty popular these days. People do a lot of listening to books. And I don't hate audiobooks. I've listened to a few myself, and I think it's a really, really great experience. And it's a second best to actually reading. And I would say it's closer to reading than a lot of people give it credit for. Listening to a book can be an extremely powerful and pleasurable experience. But there is a ritualistic aspect to holding a book and turning the pages. There's a devotional taking place. You get into a repetitive motion of movement of eyes, heads, hands that strip away your reality and put you in another reality. That repetitive motion is part of that process. And it's fucking gorgeous, man. I mean, I don't know. It makes me really sad that such a great writer as Cormac McCarthy has passed, and that so many of this young generation will never read any of his books as they were intended. So that's it. That's it for today. If you're taking unsolicited advice from me, which you don't need to, but if you are, on your next day off, today if you have time, go to a used bookstore. Find a Cormac McCarthy novel, any novel. You'll find one. Maybe skip the trilogy just because you want to read the first book. But you'll find No Country for Old Men. You'll find The Road, and you'll get it for a couple bucks. And engage with it as this great writer intended, Read it from the page. Take your time. Go slow. Really digest his language, his style, his themes. You won't regret it. You really won't, I promise. And barring that, you could watch the Coen Brothers movie, No Country for Old Men. I also liked The Road, which is not one of my favorite books of his, although it certainly has wonderful moments. Um, but I really enjoyed the movie. I felt like they captured the atmosphere really, really well. And it's a bleak atmosphere. So, good work. What else? That's it for today. My squats, I did a set of 2, 6 sets of 1, a set of 2, and then I didn't film my 3 sets of 5 at 135 because they were super easy and I just didn't want to. The last set was a little grindy, but it was just getting some reps in. I'm going to be sore tomorrow. And yeah, I'm done. That's it. I just did squats today and I feel really good. And I love you guys. Be good to each other today. Be kind. I'm going to try hard to do the same. I'm doing some onboarding for my new job today. And then I got to work like a 10-hour day. That's a thumbs down. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to goof off. We're going to have fun. Okay. Peace.